Welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Emmett Muckles. Please visit iTunes, Stitcher, or emmettmuckles.com to listen to all the episodes for free.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, today on the Billionaire Lifestyle, award-winning broadcast journalist and former TV news reporter Erica Mandy is our guest. She is the founder and host of TheNewsWorthy. She combines more than a decade of journalism experience with her own voice and style to provide fast, fair, and fun daily news updates in less than 10 minutes. Monday through Friday, it's available. This is a podcast that you must listen to. The Newsworthy is a credible yet casual with an unbiased perspective and an upbeat personality. Erica most recently worked for CBS Los Angeles before quitting to start this one-of-a-kind daily news podcast, The Newsworthy. So, what do you have to do now? Stay tuned and listen. Miss Erica, how you doing today, hon?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
I'm doing so great. You know, it was really cool to meet you at PM17. For those of you who don't know, that's a podcast movement. I flew out to Anaheim, and I was at this thing where they were talking about how the gadgets and stuff are going to take over the world. And I turn around literally behind me because I think I was blocking her view, and I see this beautiful little woman. And I'm like, what's up? She was like, what's up with you?
And that was such a fun event.
I know. Yeah, but, you know, what fascinated me, I was kind of in tune with who you were before I got there because I saw you on iTunes. But you never, this is how beautiful life is. You never know what opportunities are cast before you or where you're going to be, who you're going to meet. And I see this woman. I'm like, hey, that's that woman. But
I know, it's so neat how many people we met, and I took away a lot too. Even that session was really helpful. Yeah,
it was really informative. I came back with some nerdy friends of mine, told them about how they could move forward in their tech career by programming some things for the new devices that Amazon and those guys are having. But we're not here to talk about me and you hanging out. We're here to talk about you. So what's going on in your life, and how did you come to this point where you are right now, Erica Mandy?
So I spent the last 10 plus years as a TV news reporter, working my way up within the world of TV news and broadcast journalism. I went to school for journalism and all that. And I realized that I looked around and people weren't watching news in the same way. They weren't consuming news in the same way. And frankly, I was hearing from a lot of people that news was either biased, time-consuming, boring, or, depressing, frankly. And, it's important, but it can be depressing. And so I just came up with this idea. And the more I looked into it, the more I researched it, the more excited about it I got. So that's why I decided to quit my job as a TV news reporter and start my own business and my own podcast called The Newsworthy, where it gives all the day's news in less than 10 minutes. And I do it with my own voice and my own style. So I use my journalism experience, but I'm bringing in my own voice to it to make it a little more upbeat and a little bit more fun to listen to. And as your podcast listeners know, you can just listen on the go while you're doing other stuff. And so that takes care of it being depressing, time-consuming, boring. And then it's really, really important to me that I'm unbiased. And we talked a little bit about that via email, that I really pay attention to bringing in multiple perspectives, even if it's just a short story. I want you to know both opinions so you can decide for yourself.
Yeah. I heard this snippet from Denzel Washington, and he made this really great point. It used to be that journalism was about being accurate, having this huge amount of integrity. And he said nowadays they've shifted because they want to be first, because things are about commercialism and ratings. Did you see any of that in your career, and did that affect you at all, as saying, like, I can make an impact myself?
Sure. I mean, absolutely. Like anything, you want to be competitive. And if there's breaking news, you want to be first. But I will say personally as a journalist, and I can't speak for every journalist because just like any job, there's a wide variety of talent and integrity within journalism, just like any other job. But accuracy was the most important for me. And if I couldn't confirm something, I would cite who is saying something. And that's a lot of what I bring into the Newsworthy, where I'm looking at a collection of news sources and I'm telling you a variety of what people are saying, so that you're not just going to get the one person who's saying this because they want to be first. No, I'm going to wait until there's multiple people confirming this and multiple perspectives on this topic, and then I'm going to bring you the full picture. But yes, throughout TV news, you feel that pressure. You feel that pressure to be first. But I would say most organizations still do want to be accurate, and it just depends on the journalist itself, her or himself, to make sure that they're doing that.
And what made you decide, like, I can do this? Because, a lot of times people think when you have a popular platform, or when they see you foray into something else, that is just automatic. Bing. What was the process for you, and how did you get here? Because I know it was scary to just say, I'm going out on my own road.
Yep, exactly. I think it goes back to that, what I did in TV news first. It wasn't like I woke up and decided I wanted to be in broadcasting/podcasting. And that's great if you do that, and you can learn along the way and be better and better over time. But for me, I did that in TV news. I started in a small town in the middle of Missouri, out of college, after having unpaid internships. And my first job was I was making $10 an hour as a part-time reporter. And I just kind of did that. And with 6 months, guess what? I got promoted and then promoted again. And so it's just being willing to do some of that work at the beginning, proving yourself a little bit, or at least that you have the potential, showing that you have that potential, and then taking opportunities as they come. So for me, that 10 years of working my way up, so starting at a small town in Missouri, then after 4 years there, working my way up within that one small station, I jumped to Portland, Oregon. And I worked there, which is more of a mid to upper market. Then after I got that experience, I was able to jump to Los Angeles, which is the second largest news market in the country. And I say that because I started one place and then I could eventually, several years later, get to the next place. And so that then led me to where I am now and gave me the confidence and courage to be able to say, I have this journalism background, I have this broadcasting background, I can go out on my own now.
And with that, do you think that the viewers or the constituency that were in tune with you, because everybody has their own news that they gravitate towards. They have their news personalities that they gravitate towards. And oftentimes I come from a very big training market, which is Detroit. And a lot of people start in Detroit and boom, they move out because Detroit's news was produced very well and they trained the people very well. Do you feel that because of those various markets, it's helping you where you are today?
Sure. I mean, in terms of followers, I definitely had some followers that have gone with me from city to city. But I will say every time I moved, I lost people because they were watching for their town. And then I went to the next town and et cetera. But I definitely have had people that have come along with me. And so that's been really nice. And I so appreciate those people. But I think that's what I love about what I'm doing now is I feel like I can reach more people, actually, because when I was working in TV, it was only available for that city, even if it's Los Angeles, but podcasting, and talking about national news, it affects everybody. And so I feel like the potential for even a bigger audience is there. And that's what really, really excites me.
So how did you come up with, I'm going to do this daily? Because that's a great deal of work. I just finished a 30 podcast in 30 days. I literally want to shoot myself because I travel on the road a lot. Since in that 30 days, I was between Chicago, San Francisco, twice, Las Vegas, and I still had to produce content. Mm-hmm. Why do you feel it's so important to give people the news every day versus surmising over the course of a week and distilling it and dispersing it that way?
Well, I think a couple of things. One, I like for it to be less than 10 minutes, so it doesn't feel overwhelming, so you can listen and feel like you are in on the conversation when you go to work or happy hour or whatever it is. And so in order to do that and give you a good overview of that day's news or even that week's news, I felt like it needed to be at least 5 times a week, Monday through Friday, so you could go into work confident with what's going on. I also think that understanding issues on a daily basis not only helps you know what's important to you, it also gives you the bigger picture when you take a step back and you've been following something along the way. You know how it's changed. You know what issues are new. And so that was important to me as well. And, news affects us as people. It affects our loved ones. And I think sometimes people forget that because we get so caught up in everything else. And I know not every piece of news is going to affect you, but whether it's a new technology that you might want to get, it doesn't just have to be the political issues, which of course affect us as well. It's also, what are some of the colleges rated? What are some news that are happening about, your kid may go to this college and something just happened there, so I think those types of pieces of news can affect you on a daily basis. So I want to bring it to you on a daily basis.
Now, this has been the question that's been plaguing me since I met you. Because, when I saw you, I was like, this woman's a star of some sort. She has the presence of someone. You have a face for television. Put it.
Well, thank you. That's very nice.
And that's like almost like the pinnacle historically is to be on television, right? Mm. And you hit that stride and you said, I am literally going to pivot severely to another way. How did you get the courage? What brought it out of you? What in your chakra said, fire, 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 do this?
Well, I think, yes, TV is a great platform and it continues to be a very popular platform. But we all know that that's changing. And as we were talking about with some of these new devices, you're going to be listening to your news on your smart speaker while you're doing other things. We're all busy people. And so I didn't want people to have to stare at a screen. We stare at so many screens, whether it's our computer, our phone, our TV, we need a break. And when I got into podcasting and I actually started listening to other podcasts, I just fell in love with it. And I think the other part of it is I was doing TV for somebody else. And I just started to get a passion for doing something on my own and learning entrepreneurship and going out and having a platform that I control. And so that really excited me. And so I spent 10 years on that path. And I said, I either look to go to network news next, or I start my own thing. And I no longer felt like network news is where people were going to be turning to in the future as much, unless they figure out a way to change. But also because I just wanted to follow my own passion and have my own platform.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's this term that is floating around and it became popular in the last year, which is fake news. And I actually interviewed someone who talked about the process of news and the various outlets and how it changed historically. What is your take on that fake news title versus journalism?
Well, I think when we're literally talking about fake news, you're talking about the the outsider, independent people who are doing it on purpose, that are literally making stuff up. It's not like something is just biased. To me, it's those people that got the fake Facebook accounts and put out ads that said these, outlandish headlines just to skew the presidential election or something, and I'm sure it happened on both sides.
Yeah.
That to me is fake news. When you're talking about mainstream media and credible organizations that really do try to be as fair as possible, even though maybe you do see a slant, I think that's different. And I don't like calling that fake news. I think sometimes it can be biased. And the thing that I try to do is make sure that I'm bringing in multiple perspectives and picking up. And actually, the more I look at different types of news, the more I can pick up on a little bit of slant here, a little bit of slant there, and sure I'm bringing it in. But I think we have to be careful because I think at the end of the day, most credible news organizations are not going out saying, let's slam this person on purpose. I think most just, maybe have some biases that they don't even realize and that come out. But when you're talking about fake news, I think that's when people are literally making up news. And it's up to us to, as news consumers, to make sure that we are getting truthful information. If there's only one news source that's saying something that you've never heard of that news source before, and they have this really crazy story, it's probably not true if nobody else is reporting on it.
Good deal. Now, podcasting is not easy. It is work. Those people who are very successful, extremely successful nowadays, make it look so easy. But one of the things that you did is you leapfrogged your audience. How did that come about? I mean, I'm going to tell you, you did a really good job. I love the way your picture looks. I love the logo style. I like how you set it up, and you made it easily digestible. But it's not hard finding it. I mean, sometimes it's not easy finding an audience. How did you grow your audience? And you did it relatively quickly, like 30 to 60 days.
And I'm still growing it for sure. But one of the things that really helped me was getting featured on iTunes New and Noteworthy. And so I want to tell anybody who wants to get into podcasting that the way that I did that is researched and listened to other podcasts about how other people did it. And there were a lot of different tactics. And so I chose what actually applied to me. And one of the best things that I heard was find on LinkedIn or email Apple marketing people and let them know about your podcast. Or this guy was talking about an actual app for the App Store, but I applied it to podcasting. Mm-hmm. So he was saying, find those people and pitch them directly. Don't just rely on the algorithm or whatever. Yeah. Knowledge bomb right there. So I did that. I found like 3 people on LinkedIn and a generic Apple email. They'll probably hate me for saying that. But I came up with a really good pitch about why I really believe in my content. And it does go back to content, because if they listen and it's not good sound quality or it doesn't have good content, then it's not going to matter. But if you have a good product, then it's letting people know about it. So I messaged them on LinkedIn. One of the 4 people that I reached out to got back to me and just said, I'll check out some recent episodes. 2 weeks later, I was on New and Noteworthy.
Oh, wow.
So I can only guess that is why. And so I think whatever industry you're in, you can apply that tactic of research what other people have done, figure out what's different than most, because a lot of them, everybody does the same thing. So if everybody's doing it, it's not going to work. What's that one little knowledge nugget that somebody gives you, and try it? And at the end of the day, it's most importantly about content and providing value to your audience. And I hope that as I continue to grow, word of mouth and being on wonderful podcasts like yours is going to be the next big step in continuing to grow.
And that's the whole thing about the Billionaire Lifestyle. It is literally my effort into showing people that the world has something specifically for you. You're already a billionaire. You got 1 billion cells just in your skin alone. So why stress about money? Like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you got a place to live, you've eaten in the last 6 to 12 hours, someone even acts like they love you, you're golden.
I love that.
Everything else is just a bonus. What's your next steps? What's your trajectory that you have set out for yourself moving forward?
It's all about just continuing to grow. And I've met some really amazing people through podcast movement and other things within the podcasting industry, because I have changed industries, remember? So that's been really exciting. So continuing to grow my podcasting network and continuing to grow my audience. I feel like it's one of those things. I am satisfied with my life, and I think you just said a good reminder. But when you're ambitious, it's hard to be satisfied. You always just want to keep growing, and so that's going to be my main goal. And I might start some additional marketing and just trying to get the word out so people can listen.
So, are you speaking anywhere in public? Do you have anything happening on that front? Any groups or conferences?
This is a great point, actually, because I've been so consumed with just doing my content for the most part and just going to a couple of conferences, that when you put yourself out there just a little bit, things come to you. I haven't even tried that hard yet, but, whether it's us meeting at Podcast Movement and that leading to this interview, or I reached out to one of my email subscribers and I just said, hey, thanks so much for being part of this community for the Newsworthy. And she said, you know what, would you be willing to speak? I do this at this university and we're looking for someone to talk. And so I have that in October where I'm going to be speaking to some people for a special luncheon at this university. And that came up. I'm going to a conference for female podcasters actually next week in downtown Los Angeles called Work It. So I'm excited to meet some people there and spread the word. And I think I have another. Oh, yeah. And just one of my listeners does her own podcast. And she also found me and recommended me on her podcast. So then we started talking. And then now she wants me to be on her podcast. So it's just, it's really amazing that once you just start putting yourself out there, things start happening. And then as you get that momentum, you can start making it bigger and bigger and bigger when you actually reach out to other people and stuff like that.
Awesome. It's been a really great feeling. I've been looking forward to just talking to you since I met you because I looked at your content. I liked your energy. I liked your style. And I was just like, oh, I can't wait. I was like, Erica's going to be on my show. Woohoo! Get it done. So I want to thank you so much for being on the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. And ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, here's what you really have to understand. When you get out the shower, you are going to pass by this thing because you have to do it. It's called the mirror. You're going to look into that mirror, and I want you to recognize every little thing, particularly if you have no clothes on. I want you to take that all in. All the things that society has made you think, throw that out. I want you to know something. If you don't feel loved, take my love. I love you. I got love for you because I understand all the levels of love. And I want you to love yourself because once you love yourself, then you can spread love. Then you can genuinely give love to another person, which means they are going to give love. Picture this planet if we all loved each other. So look for the good in everybody, just like Erica and I are looking for the good in each other so that we can help you guys. Till next time, thank you so much. Thank you, Erica.
Thank you, and thanks for inspiring so many people.
I'm trying my best. Until next time, people, we're out. Deuces! And then we're done.
Awesome. I hope that was okay for you.
Oh, yeah, you were great. So here's my thing, and I do this for everybody. Whatever you need, I got you. If I can supply something that you need, you just call me.
Right back at you.
Yeah, because I'll come out to LA and be like, Erica, what's up? Where's the vegan joint at?
Wait, where do you live again?
I live in Indiana. I live in
that's where I went to school.
Valparaiso?
No, I went to IU in Bloomington.
I live in Valparaiso, Indiana.
Yeah, I knew a bunch of people that lived there. That's great.
The North. Are you from NWI?
No, I'm from Kansas City, actually.
Oh, dig it. Hold on, let me stop this. Record. Okay, Erica, there's one other thing that I have to ask you. How can people find your podcast, find you, and websites, all that stuff? Whatever you want to give, let it flow.
Yes. Okay, so my website is TheNewsWorthy.com. TheNewsWorthy.com. That's the easiest way. And I have all the links if you go to show notes where all the different platforms you can listen to. So if you prefer Apple Podcasts or Stitcher, all the links to the show are on TheNewsWorthy.com. You can also find all my social media that way, but on Twitter, I'm the NW Podcast. Same with Instagram, the NW Podcast. And on Facebook, it's just Erica Mandy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.